Hey, welcome back. My name is Rob Peoples. You can call me Peeps. And today we're talking about selling yourself. That's right, selling yourself. Look, here's the deal. Marketing is one thing, selling is another thing. So, anybody out there can write down a bunch of accolades about themselves. Anybody out there can put an amazing bio on their website. Anybody out there can do this, that, or the other. I mean, I get it. But the reality is selling yourself, the place it starts is right here. Okay, we got to use our words. We got to use our voice. Clients need to hear you. They need to hear your confidence, not just read about it or see it on the internet. When they do, you create confidence, you earn more clients, you get more listings. It's not just about marketing and the stuff we put out there into the world to generate business, it's here too. Okay? So today I'm talking about selling yourself. Now, first, let's address the three components of any sale. First, why me? Selling yourself. Why now? Why right now is a good time? Urgency. And third, why the organization I work for? We're only talking about why me. Why did I put why me first? Because at the end of the day, your client is buying from you. Sure, it might have a broker's name on it or whatever, but at the end of the day, you are the most important factor. To further illustrate this, when your client writes a review, good or bad, it's going to be about you. You are going to be the focal point. Okay? So that's why selling yourself and making sure your client feels good and hears good and is confident in you is vital. All right. So I'm going to tell you right now that there are a lot of trainings out there on how to sell yourself, what to say, how to say it, so on and so forth. But I'm going to tell you the most effective way I've learned to teach people over the years to sell themselves comfortably is to rely on stories. That's right. Rely on stories. Why? Well, let's explain it scientifically. If you lived something, if you experienced something, if you are in that physical location where your ears, eyes, nose, smell, touch was all activated, it's incredibly easy to tell a story about it. I'll prove it to you. If I was to ask you right now, tell me a quick 3-minute story about the last vacation you went on. See what I mean? That's not going to require a script. You're not going to look at it as selling. You're simply going to look at it as, hey, you know what? I'm going to tell you this story. So that tip is huge, especially if you are a newer realtor or newer sales professional, frankly, in any field, is you might not have the accolades, right? You might not have the brand. You might not have the billboard on the side of the highway helping you out. So really it comes down to your words. And until you can talk about specific accolades, it's going to come down to stories for you too. Now, for my veteran folks, storytelling is only going to take your accolades and take them 10 notches further. So this is for you too. At the end of the day, confidence sells, and the more confident you are, the more listings and more money you're making. Okay. Honestly, let's put some kids through college by being a little more confident. Sound good? So I'm going to give you an example. All right. And look, the tip today is simple. Tell stories. Tell a story about a time you were successful. Tell a story about a time you solved a problem. Tell a story about something relevant to the business or the time. Let me give you my example. Now, many of you may know, if not, I spent quite a bit of time in the mortgage industry. And I remember back to my initial year as a mortgage banker. And I can tell you right now, this is where my personal brand was built. So real quick, I'm going to demonstrate. I want you to all to pretend that you're my mortgage client. And then when we're done, don't overthink this. I want you to think about it from a realtor perspective. Because at the end of the day, stories are stories. Okay. So here's mine. So you know what? I'm going to tell you kind of why I would, choose working with me. And it really comes down to, reality. What I like to tell my clients is that there was this one instance, perfect example, that I was working with this wonderful couple named Elmer. And Elmer and, oh my gosh, what was her name? Emma, I think it was. Yeah, it was. And they were lovely people, and they were living in northern Indiana. And I remember Elmer had a very unique job. He literally flew the planes over the fields to fertilize the fields. He was, I think it's called a crop duster. And it was tough for them because their local bank, they had gotten them approved, but they had a bunch of hiccups. And they weren't calling him back because they knew there was a problem and they were avoiding him. So Elmer got me on the phone. Now, found out later the problem was they weren't really great at working with self-employment. I had tons of experience with working with him. And I was able to turn that whole negative experience around for Elmer really, really quickly. Been in the business a very, very long time. And I give you a great deal of assurance that I'm going to make sure that no matter what, I'm going to have the expertise and the knowledge and the service to serve you just as well. I'm going to ask you all to pause for a minute. I'm going to ask you all to just think about this question. Let's rewind to my story. What did you see when I was saying it? How many of you saw an airplane? How many of you pictured what Elmer may have looked like? What about Emma? Did you picture what their house may have looked like? Did you picture the frustration that Elmer may have had on his rotary phone hanging in the kitchen? That's storytelling. That's power. And that's where you reach the decision-making part of your client's mind. Tell them a story about your success. Don't just tell them you're successful. It won't land. All right? So that's my tip, my friends. I want you to think of a time where you helped somebody. I want you to think of a time where you maybe helped somebody through a rough closing or found them a house in time. I want you to be detailed. Thinking time of year, the place they live, what they were doing, so on and so forth. Make it visual, just like you're designing a movie. Make yourself interesting. That's the key to selling yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Take the word of thousands of sales professionals I've taught that to that say to me afterwards, that really made this easy, because it did. So my friends, sell well. Until next time, my name is Rob. You can call me Peeps. We'll see you soon.